Representative Ortitay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to follow up on a comment made earlier. PSERS manages internally about $19.3 billion. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
What's the rate of return on that?
Well, they're in 20 different portfolios, so they span from equity to fixed income to commodity to risk parity. So the returns vary by portfolio. But what I could say is that during the past fiscal year, those managers exceeded their policy benchmarks by $121 million. So they added $121 million above the benchmarks they were assigned. And over the past 10 years, they've added $700 million over those assigned benchmarks.
Okay, you mentioned the 20 different portfolios. What types of investments are in those? Just basic.
So U.S. equities, so large, small, mid-cap, non-U.S. equities, commodities, both the Bloomberg Commodity Index as well as gold index.
So are you managing it more for short-term, or is this fund just for the overall? I'm just trying to get a perspective. When you pull a certain amount of money out, are you managing for liquidity? Are you managing for a specific rate of return? What's the objective?
Those portfolios are part of the strategic asset allocation, so they're more permanent in nature. Well, we can also use the internal portfolios as transitory. So we're going to terminate an external manager. We'd bring those assets in-house. We can manage those in-house until we find another manager. If we can't find another manager that meets our criteria, we'll keep them in-house. So it's more for long term. Now we do have portfolios that provide liquidity. We manage our cash, so all the cash of the system is managed centrally. We also manage short duration fixed income portfolios as well.
Are you looking to expand that amount in the future?
To the extent we can, we will. At this point, we've expanded it pretty significantly. We've taken on a lot of extra assets, but we haven't really been able to add staff to that, which has been an issue. So it's really taxing the current employees. So you think we have 34 employees managing 20 portfolios, plus we're overseeing external managers. So when you look at it, the front office staff that are managing the portfolios are stretched. The operations people that support those portfolios have been stretched. And we don't have, in the long run, what we really need is additional people. So we have backups to those PMs. So we have one PM but no backup, really, for them. So in the long run, what we want to see is those backups so we can build out a program that lasts into the long term. So if certain managers leave, we're able to keep going rather than having to outsource those assets.
And you're able to save a substantial amount of management fees by doing this in-house as opposed to farming it out or finding an external manager, right?
Right. Last year it was about $30 million we saved in fees. Plus, and again, it's not just the fees. It doesn't do us much good if we manage it internally and we do it poorly. We manage it internally, do it well, and they've added $121 million above that. So it's a $30 million plus $121 million. Really, it's $150 million.
Well, I guess I would ask the question: if you're doing well internally, I guess you're limited by staff to manage more of that money in the future. If you're doing so well with it, I mean, is that your only limitation? Is just staff?
Well, it's part of it. I mean, part of it is we do have external managers that have done very well too. So when you look at the total excess returns above the index we've earned over the past 10 years, we've made $700 million internally. That's about 12% of the total external, the extra return we received, which was about $5.6 billion.
Does that factor in the cost as well?
It does. It's all net of fee. Every number we provide you is going to be net of fees. That's the number we can eat, right? That's at the end of the day, that's the value that's actually generated. So if we were to try, we couldn't bring certain assets in-house because we don't have the expertise. So think private equity, the absolute return managers, private credit. We don't have the expertise. Although even in those areas, we are doing more in-house where we're able to co-invest with our partners and actually able to get no fee, no carry deals with private equity, and that actually helps save the cost too. That's about $5 million of the $30 million is our co-investment program with our private fund managers.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well,